Shrm, you have the power to make a difference and take destiny into your own hands. People are overworked, undervalued, stressed out, and burnt out. Make the mental health of employees your mission, and then sit back and watch the magic. I shared with you that I had bipolar disorder, dropped out of college, got discharged from the Army, and have been incarcerated. It wasn't a hard time. Actually, it was really only 2 days. But Starbucks withdrawal is a real thing. I swore that I'm never going back. But if I do, I'm bringing an espresso machine and pumpkin spice syrup, no doubt. In 2012, I was at the top of the world. I earned both my degrees, had the best job in my union, and got married. I burned with the desire to tell every kid who's lost hope they can succeed. I wanted to use my past to inspire students. I started speaking to colleges and universities. I felt like I was making a difference. Then my bipolar became unhinged. It felt like a runaway train that I tried to slow down, but I could never catch up. Mental illness started taking a toll on my marriage. We fled to California, hoping for a geographical cure. One night we had a fight, and she stormed out. She fell asleep in her car. It was over. I looked at her through the window of that car, and I saw her face, and I saw my reflection. She looked exhausted, like she had weathered a 10-year storm. She was dying from prolonged exposure to me. I don't ever want to forget that image. When I'm not proactive with my mental disorder, I will throw my life in the garbage every time. My life was horrible. I had recurring nightmares where I saw revolving images of every hurtful thing that I had done. I would wake up to the reality that I was alone. I would lay there shaking and crying, and my dog would lay on top of me, trying to absorb my pain. I wasn't going to end my life, but I didn't want to live anymore. I was at rock bottom. But at rock bottom, I was just right for God's grace. Over the next 2 years, I put the work in, did the therapy, got my meds right, read everything that I could, and volunteered for my church. I let go of my shame and learned how to love myself. In November 2019, I was the audiovisual production manager for Shrm's Volunteer Leaders Business Meeting. I got a call to assist a presenter. Her name was Mary. In conversation, I mentioned that I wanted to use my story to help people with mental illness. She introduced me to Felix, who led the Second Chance initiative for Shrm. I shared that I used to be a professional speaker and spoke to college students about success. My message was no matter your hurts, your mistakes, or your diagnosis, you could accomplish anything and live a life beyond your wildest dreams. And then I told Felix that I ruined my life and didn't want to live anymore, but I kept fighting, got healthy, and turned it around. Then I met a woman named Christina while leading a volunteer event for Mosaic Church in Maryland. I was mesmerized by her eyes. They were full of love and grace. The name of that organization we were serving was called Second Chance. 4 months later, I proposed to my wife at a place dedicated to giving people a fresh start. I rolled up my sleeve and showed Felix my tattoo, Second Chance. Felix ran and pulled Mary out of the session she was speaking in. He said, "Tell her your story." He knew that Mary's brother died an hour earlier, and hearing my story could ease her pain. I was baffled. Mary's grieving. Felix has a million things to do, yet they're both trying to elevate me. Who does that? Human resource professionals do. Recently, I spoke with Kathy, the director of Shrm Speakers Bureau. She said, "I added you because Mary Shetty wouldn't take no for an answer." It didn't make sense. I was a criminal. I was a cheater. I have mental illness, and I wasn't even a speaker. In October, Shrm asked me to speak at an event. It was the same meeting where 2 years earlier, I met Mary. Sometimes things happen in life, and God's the only explanation. When I was asked to give that presentation, I learned everything I could about Shrm. You advocate for untapped talent. You fight for people like me. Shrm is the company of second chances. Out of my love for Shrm, I decided to get a new tattoo. I know it's crazy. Maybe it is. But Shrm took a chance on a reject, and that's crazy. When you find an organization that fights for you and changes your life, you'll fight for them too. All I wanted was a second chance. And Twin Cities Shrm has given it to me.